Good.
Hello, I'm Officer Jared Hayse with the Sullivan Police Department. Besides being a normal patrol officer, I now have the joy and privilege of getting to work with the Sullivan School Districts as a school resource officer. Today I'll be reading Chapter 5 of the book Chocolate Touch. Hope you enjoy it and don't mind my reading. John hung up his coat, got his notebook and pencil out of his locker. He sat down at his small table just in time for the second bell, when Miss Plimsolls walked silently into the classroom. As soon as she appeared in the doorway, all the chatter and scuffling stopped. The 20 boys and girls sat straight up in their chairs and looked straight ahead at the clean blackboard. "Good morning, children," said Miss Plimsoll. "Good morning, Miss Plimsoll," said the class respectfully. Miss Plimsoll sat in her high desk, blinking her eyes and surveying the room. She opened the little drawer in her desk and pulled out her spectacle case, from which she took her reading glasses. She removed her long-distance glasses, put on her short-distance glasses, snapped the spectacle case closed, replaced it in the drawer, and shut the drawer, tilting her head forward so that she could see and look over the glasses on her nose. She said, "This morning, children, we are going to have an important test." There were a few groans and some oohs and some ahs. Miss Plimsoll lifted up one of her hands, and the silence was restored instantly. "No complaining, please," she said sternly. "This test will show me how well you've been learning the arithmetic this year. It's going to be a short one. I'm going to write down just 4 problems on the board. I shall expect you to solve them all swiftly and accurately, and to write your answers neatly. You will place your paper in front of you now. You will write down your name on the top right-hand corner, and then you will place the pencil next beside your paper and sit back in your chair and wait until I have signaled to begin work." Miss Plimsoll turned to the blackboard and began chalking up the test problems. The test always made John nervous. Besides, his lips were feeling dry, and the taste of chocolate was strong in his mouth. He raised his hand. "Yes, John," Miss Plimsoll asked. "Please, may I go get a drink of water?" "Please, Miss Plimsoll," he asked in a small voice. "Very well. Hurry back. We're going to start in just a few minutes." John gratefully slipped out of the room and walked quickly down the quiet corridor to the water fountain. His tongue felt thick with chocolate, and the cold water would be refreshing. He pressed down on the fountain treadle. A stream of clear, ice-cold water spurted from the silver nozzle in the white enamel basin. He lowered his head until the jet of water reached his lips. The cold water splashed delightfully against the outside of his mouth. He opened his lips. As soon as the water gushed in, it turned into ice-cold chocolate water, thin and sweet. Quickly stopping the flow, John looked with dismay at the shallow puddle that had formed and was now draining away from the basin of the fountain. He hurried to another fountain on the second floor of the building, but the same thing happened. The clear ice water turned to liquid chocolate in his mouth. Then John finally got back to his classroom. All the other pupils were bent over the table, busily scratching away. Miss Plimsoll looked up from her book at John tiptoeing in. She looked at the clock on the wall, looked back at him, and wagged her finger reprovingly. John began his first of his 4 problems, but he was so worried about the chocolate water that he could not keep his mind on his work. By the time he was ready to start his 4th problem, the other boys and girls were already putting down their pencils and straightening up, smiling at one another. 2 minutes to go, said Miss Plimsoll. Concentrating hard, John took the end of his pencil between his teeth and began nibbling on it. It immediately turned to chocolate. Then he noticed an even more disturbing change. Although he had taken the pencil out of his mouth, and as soon as the first piece of chocolate crumbled off, the pencil was continuing to change to chocolate. The chocolate was slowly but steadily moving down the pencil, replacing the wood and the lead inside, changing it into chocolate pencil before John's very eyes. The magic, for John now knew that his power must be magic, was apparently getting stronger. By the time the whole pencil had changed from red, yellow, and black to dark brown, Miss Plimsoll was announcing that only a few seconds remained in which to write down the final answer. "Just a minute," John pleaded. "Shh," Miss Plimsoll cautioned him, holding her finger at her mouth. "Shh, coursed through the slow workers, who were becoming almost as excited as John, but John felt worst of all. He was sure that he could finish the problem and write down the correct answer, if only he had something to write with. Miss Plimsoll, he begged in a loud whisper, "My pencil has turned to chocolate." "Hush, John," Miss Plimsoll said. "I will speak with you after the bell." John tried to write with the changed pencil, but the point was too soft, and he could only succeed in making a chocolate smear where he should have written 72. I hope you enjoyed this book, or this chapter at least, and I hope you will continue to watch these videos to hear the end of the book. Thank you.